wasn't able to have technical difficulties, but this is a note from the cover of what we did last week.
Oh, thank you. I make movie show.
Sorry,
Joe,
I couldn't,
you wanna move
no, this is
that
wonderful.
will go together.
Thank you. Excellent.
Yeah. Okay, any questions? Well, let me review last week. This is the second time we're meeting, right?
Yes, sir.
Well, okay. Last week, to review very rapidly, I talked about the concept of halacha, which is what a Mishna is comprised of, and what are the objectives in learning halacha. I mentioned that everything needs a checklist. If you don't have a checklist, you don't know what to think. And you don't want to think haphazardly, which means, well, whatever I think about. You don't want to leave thinking up to chance. That's a mistake, because you're going to miss a lot of stuff. What you need is a checklist. And from that checklist, you begin to see, okay, I have to do A, B, C, D. You know exactly what you need to know. And then you make sure that you've covered everything. So therefore, not only is a checklist critical, but it has to be obviously an adequate checklist that truly, comprises the points of information that you have to really know. And besides that, what's very important is that if you look at a commentary, that you know exactly, well, which points of the checklist is he talking about, and what did he leave out? You see?
Yep.
You know exactly what's happening. And then if you're learning a Pirush, a commentary, and he left out something, well, you have to look somewhere else. It's that simple. In other words, chance, I once said this, chance favors the prepared mind.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, if you come into something and you're not prepared, forget it. Your secession will be very unsuccessful. But if you prepared yourself, then even if all of a sudden you hit something like chance, I know what he's answering. I know what he's saying. You see, and like I said, if he doesn't answer the question, that objective, then you have to look elsewhere. You need to come in prepared. What do you want to know? I don't know. That's the problem. But that's what learning is all about. But you need to know, what do I have to know? You come in and you don't know that, you're really, it's like, a kite in the wind. Whatever the wind takes you, that's where you go, which is a big mistake. Okay? So, the concept of halacha, right? I defined halacha last week. What is a halacha? Anybody remember?
Required behavior in a given situation.
Yeah, a halacha is nothing more than the required behavior in a given situation. In any case, what a halacha has is two components. It has a case, which is a situation, and it has a conduct. What do you do? The conduct can be called the din, the law, the rule. I don't care what you call it. But a conduct is fundamentally what you do in a given situation. So in knowing halacha, you have to know both. You need to know the exact situation, and you need to know what to do, which is the conduct. And I mentioned also, I think, that basically there are only 10 conducts, right? Chayiv potter, asa mutter, kosher posel, tomei tor, yotza lo yotza. Basically that encompasses most of the dinim of Shulchan Aruch. Anyway, okay. Then the next idea, so we realize, therefore, the two fundamental pieces of information in a halacha is the case, the situation, and the conduct. You need to get that clear. The third idea is critical also, and that's called the principle. Why is this the din, the conduct of this case? Why? Why is this asa? Why is it muta? In other words, a principle or a rationale or a tam or a reason, it's all the same, will tell you, will give you the explanation as to why the conduct is so critical in this situation. Without that, you have no idea what's going on. Okay? So, that's the concept of a principle. So those three ideas, the case, the conduct, and the principle, is the most important aspect of a halacha. The fourth idea is called the essential conditions in this situation. What are the essential conditions in a situation that determine or govern or generate this din? Because not everything in a situation is important, you see. Some things, who cares? They're called non-essential. But there are certain things in a situation that is what determines the din. That's what makes it. So that's the fourth idea. The fifth idea is called the derivation. Well, how do we know this to be true? Where do we derive this from? Very important. And on the derivation, I mentioned that there are many subcategories, right? The first is called, who's the author? Who's the author of this? The second thing is the authority. What is the authority of this law? And basically there are three authorities. Min HaTorah, biblical, midrabanan, rabbinical, or minig, which is community. It could also be chumrah, which is your personal decision to observe this law. But basically there are four authorities, the greatest of course being Min HaTorah, midrabanan, and then you have minhag, which is custom, and then you have chumrah, which is a personal. There you are. So we have author and authority. The next idea, if it's Min HaTorah, what is the derivational method used? And we know that there are 32 methods of derivation, of deriving a law from the Torah, according to Rabbi Yosef Lili.
Why do we need to know that?
Why do we what?
Why do we need to know this? That's the thing. Who cares where it comes from?
That's a good question. I would even ask it even deeper. Why did the Roshim decide to reveal a law through a Gzeir Shava as opposed to a Kal V'chomer, or as opposed to a Binyanov, or as opposed to a Klal Prat Klal? But what does he care?
It's more compact.
Well,
Instead of saying everything out by Riches.
these things have a tremendous mysticism behind it. Why? Sure, the Roshim has to decide, how do I want to reveal a law? Do I want to really reveal it beferish, openly? Or do I want to do it through a method which conceals it more? And you have 32, Gematria, Riboy, Miyut. You can just look at the brisa. At the end of Brachas, there's a brisa. Come in, of Rabbi Yosef Lili. We got a chair for you. Get a chair. Fine. Now, in our life, we're not really concerned with this. The Gemara is. Why? Because there are specific rules and regulations of how these things work. You want to learn from a Kal V'chomer, you can ask on it. There are ways of refuting a Kal V'chomer or a Gzeir Shava. There are rules that apply to these type of limudim, what's called derivational methods, or fancy as methods of exegesis, and so on. But like I said, we're not really concerned about this. But we are concerned about the next thing, and that is the source pasuk. Every method of exegesis, every derivational method, must have a pasuk, except the halacha of Moshe Sinai. That does not need a pasuk. But everything else has to have a verse, a pasuk. What is it? Okay? So far we have what? We have author, authority. Let's assume it's biblical. Then we have, what's the method of derivation? What's the source pasuk?
Why do you need to know
Why do you need to know what?
the source pasuk?
Oh, you want to know where in the Torah it says?
Well, so it says.
Well, why do we have to know halacha altogether?
Nah, that's the Meister. The Pasuk isn't the Meister.
You know, why learn Gemara? Just learn the Shulchan Aruch.
No, because we need no derivation. Why do you need to know derivation from the Pasuk? The Meister.
Because we want to know its biblical authority, therefore you need to have a pasuk.
As long as there is a Pasuk, why do I need to know what the Pasuk is?
Well, you know, it's like if I need to know the root of the law, I need to analyze the root of the law.
Okay.
You know, I need to know how does the Torah express it, and not only that, you begin to ask questions on the Torah. You know, well, the pasuk doesn't seem to be saying this; it seems to be saying that. It's all about learning and knowing. You know. So those are, so far, author, authority, derivational method, pasuk, source pasuk. Number 5 is the form of the form. Is this law mitzvah saseh or mitzvah lo saseh? The tzivui form. What form is it? And then different halachas. What happens if they come together at the same time? So we have the aseh doiches lo saseh, and so on. So they do have halachic implications, the form. And the last thing, the 6th thing, is the frequency. How many times is this mitzvah mentioned in the Torah? And that brings in the concept of redundancy. Well, why would the Torah say it more than once? So then obviously what happens the second time it says it, you begin to learn new ideas. We'll see that from Succa. The fact that the Torah has to say Succa so many times, we learn the amount of walls. Redundancy. Yeah. So on.
So then what's the pasuk from the Torah?
Of what?
If there's a redundancy, how do you link the pasuk to the Torah? You said, what's the key phrase from the Torah that creates the halacha?
Yeah.
Let's say there are many of them.
No, so the Gemara will choose which is the essential one, and then which one are the redundant. This is all part of the learning, you know, and so on. I'm just giving you what's called the categories of derivation. It's really what they are. Now, if it's rabbinical, if the law is rabbinical, which is midrabanan, then we have another bunch of subcategories, right? So we have author authority, which happens to be midrabanan. Then the next idea is what? Is it a gzera takana? What type is it? Is it an enactment? Or is it a takana, a gzera, is a prevention? You cannot do A because it may lead to B, and so on. So what type of drabanan is it? You see? Is it a gzera takana? Then we want to know, is it an asmachta? Do the rabbis, do the chazal have an allusion biblically to what they're making? Many times the Gemara will say, you know, bring down an asmachta. You know? Then what would be nice is which Bezdin promulgated this law? One. When was this? You see? So we have these if it's the Rabbanan. And that's it. I'm not going to go into minhag and so on. Minhag already, which community, and when was it, why was it, and so on. Whatever. But those are the derivational ideas that come out of derivation. Then the next major category, yeah.
We said that it could be that the Rabbanan will make a takana and it does not have to be based on either an asmachta or a happening.
Yeah, could be.
They would make a takana?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
what would that be based on?
Well, that's a...
Why would they...
Oh, you remind me, I forgot the 7th idea of the Rabbanan. It's called the precipitating event. Why did they do this? Was there an event that happened? I didn't want to speak about it. I was speaking out the other. Was there... You got chairs left? Any chairs back there? Okay.
Oh, the
It's called the precipitating event. Sometimes there's an actual event that occurs. And because of that event, Chazal say, we need to make a decree. Sometimes the event is thinking, habit. Well, based on the way human behaviors work, we need to make this law, you see. So it's based on human behavior. The predictability of human behavior will force us to create a law, you see. So that's all in the precipitating event. What is it? Why did Chazal make this decree, let's say? Okay, so there you are. Those are all the concepts of derivation. I'll go over which is the most critical to analyze, or else you're going to get there. Wait, there's so much stuff here. I'm giving you the ideal objectives of halacha. In learning itself, I'm going to reduce them considerably to the most important. Later on, if you want to do the rest, fine. Okay, so this is what's called analysis. Case, conduct, principle, essential conditions, derivation. Okay? And this is all about halacha. You never knew there was so much in halacha, right? You think, hey, what's the big deal? No. There's a lot of ideas in a given halacha.
If you could explain what smachta is.
You want to do me a favor? Larry, give me a drink.
Sure. What do you want? Sorry?
Oh yeah, I need to clear my throat. Then there's one more. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Could you find or describe what a smachta?
An asmachta is a biblical illusion, not illusion, illusion. It's a detail, I don't know. But it's an illusion that seems to refer, or Chazal feel comfortable that this refers to what they want to do. What's the classic? The Megillah. Megillah Esther. So Chazal say, where is it alluded to in the Torah? So they say, by, I think it's the Succa, Vayelech, Ve'anochi hastir astir ponai b'yom ha'hu. And I will surely hide my face in that day. So hastir astir, Esther, and that's exactly what God did. He concealed himself in that day. So that's a thanks.
Amen.
That's a classic biblical illusion. See, there are many of them, But you can begin thinking about that. Why do Chazal need an illusion? It's clearly rabbinical. It's midrabanan. What are you an illusion for? What's going to help you? And so on. You can answer all those kind of questions. You can answer that. I gave you the answer why. Chazal were always interested in illusion. You know why? Wonder why? Yes, well, go on.
Yeah, please.
The reason for that is that God promulgated mitzvahs. That's it. Taryag. He could have done the D'Rabbanans also, if he wanted to. So the question is, does he hold from the D'Rabbanans or not? Is it really man-made? Or really, it's the spirit of the law, but he wanted you to figure out the spirit, and you now add additional laws. You see, which is it? And the answer is, when Chazal found an asmachta, what that told them is that really, God, the Rabbanim could have made that law, but he didn't. He wanted Chazal to figure out the spirit of the law, not the letter of the law, and therefore, they would be aligning their mind with God. They got exactly what God wants. You see? But the Moshe didn't want to do it. He wanted the rabbis, the chachomim, to figure out what's in his mind to a certain extent. So Ramchal says this. Very interesting. And that's why they would seek an asmachta. Because that told them that even though it's not the letter of the law, clearly it's the spirit of the law. They're very interested, obviously. And that gave them a sense of much greater, what's called authenticity and authority to do it. You know what I'm saying? Yes. Okay, so we have 5 categories. The 6th category, is called case variations. Now, it's if you can do it, it's great. You won't be able to do it initially. Case variation simply is where you look at a case and try to vary the details of the case and see what happens to the din or the principle. You see, I give you the case of Yuvama. A Yuvama is what? The guy dies, no kids. His wife is now bound to her brother-in-law, the Yavam. What binds them? What's the principle? Now we know that really she's asa, she's an erva, right? She's a forbidden woman. Eishes ach. You can't marry your brother's wife. You see. So the Torah comes in and says, I'm going to make an exception here. I'm going to deviate. It's an erva, a forbidden marriage, or woman, whatever, right? Called Eishes ach. But in one circumstance, I'm going to permit it. What permits it? Because it's a mitzvah. She's bound to him. That's called zika. So we can now look at the different types of situations. 1, he dies with kids. What's the law? 2, he dies without kids. What's the law? 3, he dies without kids, right? But he's married to 2 women, A and B. So what does the brother-in-law do it with? See? 4, he dies without kids. He's married to A and B. But A is another erva, is another type of forbidden relation. So can this brother-in-law now marry B? Or once A is forbidden because of something else, even B is forbidden. Another case. A dies, right? He has A, he has wife A, but he's got 2 brother-in-laws. Or another case, one brother-in-law is a minor, or the only brother-in-law is a minor. You see, you see what I'm doing? I'm giving all kinds of variations here. So, what are all these variations about? What determines the law of these variations? The zika, the bind. So what we see is not just a variation in law, right, and variation in din, variation in principle. We even say, well, zika binding applies here, 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 and so on. You see? So ultimately, when you go to Yavamas, you're going to look at every possible case variation and examine what happens to the zika, and boy, will you know Yavamas. It's called case. It's an analysis of case variations. What happens if we vary the case? What happens to the din? What happens to the principle? And then you begin to see within the context of all of it how to figure it all out.
Are you saying that the principle doesn't always apply because the situation doesn't warrant that particular principle?
Yeah, it may change. Sure.
So you know when to pick the principle also. You know when to connect.
Well, you're going to look for the essential conditions.
Right.
But what happens if you vary the conditions?
So it may
Now what happens?
May use this principle, may use another principle.
Or make something else occur. See, it's the beauty of analyzing variations in the case itself. That gives a tremendous picture of what's going on. But obviously, you have to have an idea. You have to know the cases. Obviously. Okay, so you have all 6. All of these 6 ideas are included under the concept called analysis. We are analyzing an idea. You see? We're breaking it down. And what we've done is analyze a halacha. There's 6 different things you can do to halacha. Now what we want to do is called synthesis. Well, how do we connect halachas? So the first thing you want to know is, this halacha, what's its category? Where does it belong? You see? What's the overall category? I use the example like, I say, okay, the heart. Right? The heart is an organ. But so what? Where does it belong? And the answer is, it belongs in the circulatory system. So that concept automatically gives you a different understanding of heart, because you've connected it or related it to other ideas. Halachas are the same way. You see. Want to give it a shot? Give me a halacha. We'll connect it somewhere. Somewhere in the Mishna.
That Succa has to be
You want to get into Succa, huh? Give me something else, because we're going to do this in
subliminal.
Succa.
No, is that it?
So, what?
How about the law you have to send the mother bird away before you take the eggs?
Give me Shiluach HaKan. That's a mitzvah.
That's a mitzvah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a good question. Where does it fit? Or is that the category?
Uh-huh.
You know? You know?
Seems to be its own category by the fact that it's a hook, it's not attached to another.
Well, chok simply means we don't know the reason.
Yeah.
That's all it means.
Yeah.
Categorize that.
Can you not know the reason yet discern the principle?
No, the principle is the reason.
Yeah, but I mean,
You know. I mean, you can think of different ways it can connect. You know, one of the ways, let's say, is what is your relationship with God's creatures? You know, the animals or birds, whatever. You know, one of them is that if you find a bird with eggs, you got to send it away and take the eggs. Now, that could be one category. You know, what is your relationship with animals or, let's say, creatures? That's a category. And then what would you put on it? Once we've done that, what else would you put?
I would put together also the Espinal.
I say it's no, exactly. Ken Shecht, the mother and its
Right, I
kid.
was thinking that it's
So what we're doing, once you see what the beauty of a category is, once you go up, you can now begin to connect other halachas that fit in the category, which you wouldn't see by the individual
would
halacha.
that be the same as you have to feed an animal first before you eat?
It's Sabbath
It's Sarvachayim.
Exactly.
and then you
So
can
these are the laws of dealing with animals or birds, and so on. So you have a whole series of them. How do I deal with that? And then, you see, but the beauty is that once you have a category, the category connects far more halachas than the individual halacha. And it also provides a context, and so on, which we're going to do in Succa. Anyway, okay, so you want to know the category. And the last thing is called its structure. Because ultimately, a structure is nothing more than an arrangement of categories. And the structure is the ultimate. You see, like a circulatory system, right, is a system, right? But what's the structure of all the systems? And the answer would be the human body, yeah. You see. But each one has a different function. The circulatory system is to make sure that the blood can circulate. It's what's called the circulation system, right? Right? What's the function of the human body? What's the function of the body, really?
To provide,
To utilize all
Who
the...
said to do mitzvahs?
that it is. That's true.
Yes.
Yes.
But what's the function as we see it of the human
That's the
body?
function.
to provide maintenance for the neshama to reside.
And you guys are all from, yeah?
Hopeless.
Is this a class in theology?
To reproduce.
Yeah. Well, the function of the human body is to do what?
Maintain the
life.
mind.
Maintain life. That's what you do with your life is a different story. That's up to you. But it's to maintain life in the organism. That's all it is. And there are necessities to maintain life. You know, there are nutrients that have to give. Since the fundamental aspect of all life is a cell, that's where everything starts from, is a cell. So how do you maintain a cell? You have to feed it, you got to take away its waste, all kinds of stuff that has to go on. You know what, to feed it, you need a whole system to break down the food into something that can give the cell, because you can't just give it a steak.
That's right.
Although, you know, you think you can, but you can't. You can't give the cell a steak, right? Anyway, the overall function of the structure is to preserve life, to allow it, enable life, and to preserve it. That's it. You know, and then it has a bunch of categories. Each system is a category, and so on. So ultimately, all categories fit into a structure. You see. Okay, great. So, we have learned Succa. Before we start Succa, let's see what we can do. What is what's called the foundational concept of Succa? What is it? What is a foundational concept? A foundational concept is that idea that comprises every halacha in the area. You see?
Is the answer going to be hashkafa?
No, I want a halacha concept. I don't want a hashkafa concept. So what is the fundamental, the foundational concept of Sukkah?
7 days you shall dwell in Sukkah.
Oh, that's
Shiva Yamim Tishvu.
No, that's the halacha. I want to know the foundational concept of the halacha.
Oh.
Go up.
Chagim.
Who?
Chagim?
Good. Because a sukkah is a type of
Listen.
chag. There you are. So the concept of chag would precede the idea of sukkah. Yes? Great. What's another word for chag, really?
Boy.
Moy. So the first idea you begin with is the concept of a moed, right? Right? What is a moed? What is a moed? Who can define it? I want to define it,
Special
right?
time. Time
Part of the
which has
definition.
you,
Give me the definition of moed.
time which has obligations and restrictions.
Yes, I once did it, right?
Yes.
A moed is what? Is a designated time period in which activity is regulated, either being obligatory or forbidden. That's what a moed is. As such, a moed has three ideas. What is the designated time period? What is the required or obligatory activities in this moed? And what are the forbidden activities? There you are. That's what a moed is. So the overall structure of Succa isn't Succa, it's moed. You see? Now, since a Succa is a type of moed, clearly it has to have these three components. Designated time period, required activity, forbidden activity, because it's a moed. There you are. So the second idea after moed would be Chag HaSukkos.
Goes back down.
Once that's the question.
You know what I'm saying? We're going down now because we already went up. We don't need to do more than moed because then we're going to be in the
We're
world of
there.
activities.
We got,
In other words, if you had to go above moed, you'd ask yourself, what are the required activities in general, not designated by time? Concept of a moed is that time is the generator or the determinant of activity. That's the concept of a moed. And then if you want to go up beyond that, then what other factors that will generate an activity? You see, but we don't want to go that high because then we're out of Succa. You know.
So if you're talking about shotness or something, that's a different...
What?
If you're talking about shotness issues, that's a different thing than moedim. It's another...
Shatnez?
Yeah, that's a different area coming from something else. It just
Yeah.
put somewhere else.
Yeah. Where would shatnez come from? Give me its
Jacket,
category.
it's big. It has to do with clothing. So.
It has to
Well,
do with
actually,
clothing,
no.
right?
it's an
It's a
adjunct
mixture.
to,
It has to do with mixtures.
Yes, but I need something
no,
more
it's
definitive.
it's an adjunct to maintaining life because you need shelter, you need covering.
Forget about its purpose.
Oh.
You look at shatnez. What is the central idea of shatnez?
Wearing clothes.
As different than moed.
Wearing activity of
No, that's a description of what you do. Now you got to think. Give me its central idea.
Forbidden mixtures.
Well,
Yes. I need a central idea. No, I need something more fundamental. Shatnez.
using material.
Prohibition of ownership. One of the prohibitions.
No, that's a consequence. It's a law that results as a consequence.
No, but
Hello?
One.
Who's this? Hi, Tzvi, what's up? No, it is next week, and it's okay. It's okay next week. You want to do that next Sunday? Fine. Okay, I'll call you back. I'm just in the middle of a shift. Bye. What is the fundamental idea? I want to tell you, here's all your problems.
Okay.
I wouldn't say that. Let me identify your problem. Because everybody struggles with this. You know, it's, right? Here's your problem. I'm going to tell you exactly what it is. So you can decide what you want to do with it. There are two types of thinking. Deductive and inductive. Yes? What is deductive thinking? What does it mean to think deductively?
You start with the general principle and
Great.
filter down to the specific.
Exactly, beautiful. You start with the klal, general, right? And from the general, you try to derive a particular. Great. What's inductive thinking?
Reverse.
The reverse. What does it mean? To know particular and to
Connect
figure
to
out
the
the
general.
generalization.
That's hard.
That's inductive. Much harder. That's why all you guys are struggling. You guys are not trained to think inductively.
Isn't that
In yeshivas or wherever you learned, all you thought about analysis. See, what is analysis? Analysis is the mind thinking deductively. What is synthesis? is the mind thinking inductively. You see? So that's why it's so hard. Most people are very poor at inductive thinking, yet the essence of all science is induction. You don't want to know a phenomenon. I want to know the rule or the formula in general of this phenomenon. That's inductive. You see? Guy comes in and he's sick. I don't want to know about Joe's heart. I want to know about heart of everybody. And then I'll know about Joe's heart. You see? So true information is always general. A detective comes into a crime scene, right? What's his job? What's his job? What's a detective's job?
Assemble them and
No, what is the job of a detective? He sees somebody's murdered, and the corpse is on the floor, the victim is on the floor. What?
who done it?
He puts everything together.
Who did it?
Yeah.
His essential job is to identify, right,
Who did
the
it?
perpetrator. Or as they say, the perp. Right, the perpetrator. That's his job. How's he going to do it?
Induction reasoning.
What does he induce?
From the clue, he comes up with what happened.
Exactly.
Right.
He reconstructs
Mhm.
the crime scene. That's how he does it. How do you reconstruct a crime scene? He's got to look for clues. That's why Sherlock Holmes was unbelievable. Guy never lived, although really there is a model for Sherlock Holmes. I don't know if you realize that.
His position, yeah.
Who?
His teacher.
He,
Conan Doyle's teacher. Was a
yes, so Arthur Conan Doyle learned medicine in Scotland, if I remember correctly. And he had a pathologist who was his teacher.
Right.
And this guy was incredible. This guy, I think they made TV series about this, where a guy can look at a body and figure out, oh, wait a minute, this guy probably lived in India, and he happened to be a jeweler in India, but apparently he went bankrupt at a certain point in time. Hey, excuse me, where are you getting all this stuff from? What do you have, Ruch Kodesh? What is this? And that's Sherlock Holmes. Unbelievable induction, how you can figure out, who you are, where you are, what you did with your life, your past life and your future life, all your gagulim. Anyway, that's induction. So what a detective does, he takes a look at what? All the clues, and he tries to reconstruct the crime scene. Hopefully, when you reconstruct the crime scene, right, who would be likely to have done it, or who was motivated, all this kind of stuff, they'll figure out who did it. You see, that's inductive reasoning in a physical way.
Is that reconstructing the general?
Say that again?
Is that to reconstruct
The general, yeah, exactly. Well, the crime scene is the general.
Right.
The fact that this guy's lying on the floor and everything else is gone is particular. What are we really doing? The true criteria of clarity is induction. Figure out the general. You see? Problem is most people are not trained to think inductively. They're trained to think analytically. That's the problem.
And induction is really the heart of Judaism, because
Well-
we're trying to get to the one unifying.
Yeah, exactly. You should know one thing. Ultimately, the whole point of everything God created is to figure out ultimately
The
one
unity,
thing.
yeah.
What? What's the ultimate in a crime scene? Who did it? In Judaism, what's the whole point of Judaism? To
Who
figure
did
out
it?
what?
The Kadosh Baruch Hu, who did it?
Hashem.
Who created everything?
Who is God? Yeah. Who is the Moshe?
Go back to the,
Crime scene?
no, shotness, because I'm starting to
Okay,
think
now
of
we're
other-
going into, let's do
Yeah,
shotness.
but there are other things.
Give me its ultimate synthesis.
Well, okay, I got there,
Meaning-
but I'm thinking of shotness, I'm thinking of a Garusha marrying a Kohen. I'm thinking, mixture of different put-togethers that you can't do two animals together at the same time.
Yeah,
You can't plant
those
two
are
things on
all details.
of something above it.
Correct.
What's above?
Well,
I don't-
that's what my question
Okay,
is.
so don't
Forbidden
so
mixtures.
first
Not
we
the
want to
question.
so we want
What?
to categorize.
Compatibility
Right?
Forbidden
or...
mixtures.
So right now we want to categorize.
Yeah, categorize, yeah. Yeah, but there's a category, it's an ultimate category. Because there's a structure above that.
So,
Every category is nothing more than every structure is nothing more than a category of a higher structure. It's funny. It never ends. It just never ends. But what's the immediate, in other words, what is it about shotness? Where do you classify it? It's the laws about what?
Similarities and differences.
What?
No, it's not good. What is a moed?
What?
Remember we did moed?
Mhm.
What's a moed? What's the focus of a moed?
Time.
No. What is the focus of a moed? And it's about time, it's true. But what's the focus?
Behaviors that are
Regulated
not
activity.
allowed
Yeah.
during a specific period of time. Permissible and forbidden
Too
activity.
much, you said too much. Cut it. Give me the right word that you just said.
Preparedness?
Who?
Preparedness?
No.
Behavior.
Behavior. It's all about activity. Isn't it? A moed is a designated time period in which activity is regulated. The moed says, do this, do not do that. It's all about activity. What's shatnez about?
This is the activity combining.
What is shatnez about? Is it about activity?
It is an activity of combination of putting together.
Or it's about what?
Awareness.
State of
No.
state of not ownership.
Result?
Forbidden actions.
It's
Well, a
It's-
result will come out of that, but what's the essential idea in shatnez?
Combinations of
forbidden objects.
Forbidden
Oh.
combination.
Object.
Yeah.
It's the law concerning objects as opposed to activities.
Mhm.
Different idea. It's shatnez is an object. If I asked you what's the essential idea of chometz, what would you answer? It's an object. There are laws concerning the behavior toward this object.
Towards up.
Whereas in moed, it's about behavior itself. It's about activity with an object. But the essential concept is you need to do something. There, the essential concept is the object itself.
It's wearing.
Now
it.
what do you do?
It's behavior also. 'cause
But
it's
that's
wearing.
derivative
To have it
already.
in your store.
What?
That's derivative already. What
What do you say?
is it?
You can own the shutters, you can't wear it. So it's an activity.
No. Of course it has performance or activity actions with it. But the essential idea is what? Is the object itself. Without the object, we go home.
The object is musa. It's the way which is also.
That's the oifen of the Issa. But I'm talking about what is the essential
Yeah.
concept in Shatnez? It's an object. The essential concept in Pesach it's chometz. It's an object. Of course, how do you connect or relate to the object? Are the halachas of the object.
Uh-huh.
But essentially, it's an object. Whereas in moed, essentially, it's an activity. Essentially.
The combination is the object.
Well, now that's the question is, what is the components of that object?
Yeah,
That's the subcategory.
Okay.
So the subcategory is, what is this object composed of? And the answer is, interestingly enough, it's really composed of two objects, which are each and of themselves are permissible.
They become also when put together.
Yeah, where else do you find that in the Torah? Where do you have a mixture of two objects, each one being permissible, but when they come together, bad news?
Shor v'chamor.
Basar v'chol.
Milk and meat.
Shor
To
v'chamor.
have them
I mean, because
together.
the sach is where? Who?
Milk and
Basar
meat.
v'chol.
Yeah, Bas B'chol. There you are, but classic. Bas B'chol, you know.
A coin and a grusha.
Yeah, that's it.
A coin and a grusha.
Independently, they can marry whoever, but together they can't.
Yeah, okay.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, well,
So you have a lot. So
homosexuality, too.
yeah, so moed essentially covers what? Activities are regulated, whereas
Time.
well, time is
Objects
the generator of the
Right.
halacha. That's a
Usable or not.
sub. That's not the essential idea. You have to always look at what's the essential idea, and then what are the important components of that. Because time is the one that causes the activity to be regulated. You know, it's not.
I'm saying it's a trigger.
It's a
No,
trigger.
it
You
de-
see?
yeah, it
Exactly,
determines.
see?
It's a
To
determinant.
determine it. But the real thing is what is the activity. You see.
With objects, it's
We actually, it's a thing.
usability or not.
It's a thing in itself. That's what we're concerned with.
Yeah, but it's linked through usability, whether you
Yeah.
can use it or not.
In Seder Nashim, what's the essential idea of Seder Nashim? Who once did this? Who? What is the
Ownership.
central concept, the foundational concept in Seder Nashim? In
Relationship.
Moed, it's activity. in what?
Relationship.
What type of relationship?
Ownership.
Ownership. The central idea of Seder Nashim is all about ownership. In this case, a woman that you own. What is Seder Nezikin about? What is the central idea of Seder Nezikin? Damages, Bavakama, Bamzia, all that kind of stuff. Is what?
Ownership. Ownership.
The absence or the interference of ownership. That's what damage is. It's issues about ownership. There are two issues about ownership. The interference or the negation of it, which is Bavakama, and the uncertainty of it is the restlessness. Like Bob and C is all about the uncertainty of ownership. You see?
Also bringing about ownership, the kinyonim.
Exactly, yeah, well that's creating the state, yeah. Yeah, exactly. See? So each thing, you know, what's the essential idea of Taharas? Who's did this? What's the essential idea of Taharas?
The relationship.
That's certainly correct.
The flow.
That's only
The
half.
flow of,
The flow.
That's it.
Transfer between objects.
Tumah or Taharas is the study of the laws that govern the flow of a spiritual entity called Tumah and its relationship to objects. That's what Taharas is all about. So there's only two things going on in Taharas. Tumah, object. That's it. And how do they connect? How do they relate? All kinds of ways. It's the whole Taharas. You see?
The hardest of all of the
Who, Taharas?
hard culture.
It's hard in Kachin.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Okay, so that's the problem. It's induction. That's what it is, you know, and so on. But the thing is that induction lies the greatest clarity. Because the problem is the way Torah is presented to us, it's presented as a jigsaw puzzle. It's all pieces. It's all fragments. And that's why it's so unclear. Even the Mishna is fragmented, although it's not as fragmented, and so on, you know. But this is the problem. We're always presented with pieces, as opposed to an entire understanding of all the laws and so on. So therefore, we're always in the job of what? Of reconstructing. We're really reconstructionists.
the real.
It was small.
Those people who study method are really Methodists. Or, if you still want to maintain your Jewishness, we're all Reconstructionists. There you are. We're either Methodists or Reconstructionists. That's it. You know?
So Kaplan
But that's
got it
really
right?
what?
Kaplan got it right?
Kaplan got it over Kaplan saying.
Mordecai Kaplan.
Oh, chas v'shalom. I mean, that's what we do. So, okay, good. So, the upper idea of Moed is, of Sukkah is a Moed. Then the next thing, it's a Chag. Chag HaSukkah is one of the Moadim. Right? Okay, give me the structure of Chag HaSukkah. What are its categories? Because remember, we're now breaking it down. What are the categories of Chag HaSukkah?
Unrequired.
Same
Oh,
category.
Forbidden and required.
Well, we have the designated time period, because it's Chag HaSukkah, right?
You have the
So
objects,
when does it happen?
you have the necessary objects that you need.
Well, it's what are the required activities?
Oh, okay. Go
Right?
It doesn't happen
In
in
Chag
how long
HaSukkah.
it happens.
And what's the
And
forbidden?
they draw.
Because it has the same structure as the Moed. Okay, so we're going to put aside forbidden activities. Those are the Isa Malachas. Right? We're going to put apart the designated time period. It's basically Tezvav Tishrei. What are the required activities in Sukkah? In Chag HaSukkah?
To have a sukkah itself.
One is the Sukkah, the mitzvah of Sukkah.
The
The
next
mini,
one,
Arba
Who?
mini.
the Arba Mina.
Great, the Daled Minim. Two,
Korbanos.
Korbanos. Three,
Simchas Beis Hashem.
who?
Simchas Beis Hashem.
Simchas B'Yishev is 4.
Kafos, the
Who?
Ravos.
The Arova B'Migdash is 5. Nisach HaMayim is 6. And Hallel, let's say 7. Even though it's common and so on. That's it. There are 7 basic mitzvahs in Chag HaSukkos. That's it. We now see it in front of us. See, we said Moed, now we have Chag HaSukkos. Now what are we going to do? Now let's zero in on one of the mitzvahs called Sukkah.
Which is what the Mishnah does.
Yeah, because that's why we're doing it.
Yeah.
What's the structure of Sukkah? See what I'm doing?
The structure of the
I'm
structure.
seeing the big picture of every piece. So first I went up to look at Moed. Then I went further in to look at Chag HaSukkos. Now I'm going to take a look at one mitzvah called Sukkah and zero in on that. And the truth is, every mitzvah will have its own structure. But wait, since we're learning Sukkah now, We're going to zero in on Sukkah. What's the structure of a Sukkah?
Wall,
Give me all its categories.
wall, schach, and situation.
Who?
The wall, the schach, and its position.
The wall,
And the schach,
yes.
and its position, where the sukkah is.
Dimensions.
Okay. But see, what you're really now doing is you're trying to look at a further subdivision called the what are the parts of a Sukkah object itself. But I don't want just Sukkah. Because Sukkah is more than just about an object. It has several other
When is it a
objects.
sukkah?
What?
When is it a sukkah?
Well, you can have when
The time period.
the time period when it's
When it's
applicable.
obligation, when the obligations
What
of
do you
action.
have to
Yeah.
do, what do you have to do with the sukkah? What's your relationship?
Great.
Yeah, basically.
That's called what? That's called the performance or the action. So we have the Sukkah object is one category. Then the Sukkah, the action or the performance that you do with Sukkah is two. What else is there? Time. When is Sukkah applicable? Where is it applicable? It's four.
Mhm.
What else? Subject. Who? Who is obligated?
Who's requiring?
There's a guy who's got to do it. Who is obligated and who is exempt? It's all about the subject of the mitzvah. Right? Every mitzvah has a subject. So one of the categories is called the subject. You see? So we have subject, the sukkah object, the action of the object, time, place, and outcome. What's the outcome of all this?
Simcha.
Fulfilling the mitzvah.
Okay, great. So this was the structure to what? To Sukkah itself. Now, let's take one of them, called the Sukkah object itself, and let's structure the Sukkah object itself. Notice what I'm doing? The beauty of this is that every halacha in the totality of all the Sukkah is going to fit in one of the categories. So what I'm developing is an incredible framework where you can see every halacha, not only analysis of the halacha, but where it fits in the totality of Sukkah. You see? Got it? Right, so Sukkah object, that's our next structure. What are the components of Sukkah object?
You need 3 walls. It must have walls.
Walls. Great, come on, walls.
Schach.
What's that called?
A roof.
A roof. What else?
Ground.
Floor.
Relationship to it.
Floor.
Size.
No. Sides is a subcategory of roof, wall. That itself is a subcategory because the roof itself has attributes. I don't want to get that right? So we have what? We have what are the components of a sukkah? Roof, walls, and floor.
And position.
Position is a subcategory.
Why?
The position of the roof.
Of the whole sukkah.
Oh, so what's the category you just named?
Position.
No.
Place.
What was the second part of your sentence? Of the whole sukkah. So then we have to look at sukkah as a totality, as a separate entity. Not look at its components, but look at sukkah as an entire structure. That there you are. There are laws that apply to 4 different areas in a sukkah object. The laws will apply to the entire sukkah, or to its roof, to its wall, or to its floor. There you are. How's that sound? Now, let's go further. Let's take a look at roof. How many different attributes are there of a roof in which are halachically significant, which means they are halachas about all these different attributes?
Position.
What?
Position.
Position?
Components.
No. A roof is a component.
Material.
No.
There you are. Material. What?
Material.
Material. Roof material is one attribute. Next.
Relation to the wall.
Great. Proximity to the walls.
How much shade?
2.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Who?
Fascinating. How you place it down.
Connection.
How you
Connect.
connect.
Oh, it's connection. Okay.
Yeah.
3. What else?
Density.
Density. Thickness. 4. What else?
Yeah. It's, effect on light.
Effect on light.
Yeah.
What's that called?
So,
I mean, how much shade it lets
Yeah,
light?
right.
What's that called? What's the attribute of that?
Quality of,
If I ask you, well, how much shade does this roof protect you from? How much shade does it allow? What am I what category, attribute am I referring to?
Filtering.
function,
What?
function.
There you are, it's functionality. Does this roof function as a roof or not? Yes? A roof functions how? Hopefully it stops the sun from beating on your head. You see, there's a whole bunch of different attributes. Each attribute has a halacha.
Source, where it
Who?
comes from, is Gedule Karka. Source.
Source.
That was in material.
Where does the material come from? Okay, it could be a subdivision of material, fine.
Makabel Tuma, that would be
Exactly, well, yeah, well, that's a property. That's a roof property. If it's attached to the ground, did it grow from the ground, is its source. But if it's makabel tuma, that's its property.
Is
What?
it stolen?
So you're really making us think around here.
Is it stolen or is it?
You know, I can see it
We're
now.
waking up.
Yeah, well, you know, it's funny.
Burning the
Everybody
brains.
knows everything I'm saying. I'm not mechadish. Did I ask you for a Rajba? Did I ask you for a Rambam? No. I'm just asking you to think. And you all know the answers. What's the problem?
We don't know the answer.
We're here
Think
for our
this
tune-up.
way. You don't
Systematize.
think in generalities,
Yeah.
analysis. You don't have the real thinking skills. This
Facts are all
problem.
jumbled up.
It's jumbled up. It's vague. It's uncertain.
Vague.
I think
So-
what happens is sometimes we confuse the deduction for induction.
Perhaps.
We look
yeah.
at it as a particular, as a general, and then we place our faith in the wrong thing.
Yeah. Ultimately, yeah.
You know, in last week's shir, you said that you should actually be doing synthesis while you're
At the
analyzing.
same time, yeah.
There's a third kind.
Ideally,
There's abduction, which is what that is. It's called abduction.
what's abduction?
It's
What is that?
it's moving as you're analyzing. You're also synthesizing.
You mean you're
a
doing
new-
simultaneous?
Yeah.
Well, that's called abduction?
Yeah, there's rules for it as well.
Okay, that's interesting. May I just take it as a comment, you know? I can see it now. On Yom Kippur, I have to call up everybody and ask you mechila.
Whatever.
Yeah, but
Making
look at
us
the...
think. Making
What?
us think. Making us think.
It's making you think, you know?
Ab initio, yeah.
Okay, so what do we got? We have a whole bunch of what? Of attributes.
Mhm.
You see? So now when you learn a halach and a Mishnah, what are you going to think about?
The structure. We go back to the structure.
The structure. In other words, is this a halach about a roof? If it's Succa, if we're learning about Succa. First, are we learning about the Succa object? Or are we looking at the Succa performance?
Performance, essentially.
Right? Yeah. Number two, which attribute about which object? Is it a roof component? Is it about a wall? What's it about?
The first mystery is
Then you're going to ask yourself, oh, it's about a roof. Okay, which attribute about a roof? You see? What about a roof? You see? And then you're going to ask yourself, okay, what is the halacha about this attribute about a roof? Right? Now, what's the first halacha in Sukkah? In Masechta? Which I'm sure very
Height.
hopefully, what? A Sukkah that is higher than 20 amas is possible. So, what is that about? Is that about Sukkah? Performance, what's it about?
Structure.
It's about the structure, it's about the Sukkah object.
The wall.
Which component?
Schach.
The roof. If the
Oh,
roof is
where the
higher
structure- where the
than
structure-
20 amas, it's about the roof.
Yeah.
Which attribute about roof?
Its relationship to the ground.
What's that called?
Height.
Height. There you are. So this first halach is about Sukkah object. It's about the roof of the Sukkah object. It's about the attribute called height. Now, what does it say about height? Then we have the halacha.
There is a limit.
If the height is above 20 amas, it's possible. So we know what the case is, roof above 20 amas, right? We know what the din is, the conduct, possible. Yes? What's the principle? Why?
That's not really conduct, is it?
Why would
What?
It's impossible doesn't mean conduct. It means that that it doesn't qualify.
Yeah, it's invalid.
That's not conduct.
The conduct is you can't use it.
Okay.
The conduct arises from that. Yeah. But, so the din says it's possible. The makosha possible. And then, of course, what arises and how does it affect me? Why is it possible?
Machlokes.
Machlokes. What does Rabbi say? I'm assuming you guys learned the Mishna.
That it can't be a permanent structure.
What can't be a permanent structure?
Or something.
I need a full sentence.
A sukkah with walls that are greater than 20 amot high.
You mean a roof? A
Well,
sukkah
this is
with
what
a
I want to
roof.
ask. This is what when it says the Mishnah states that that a sukkah cannot be more than 20 amos high and it can't be less than
10.
10 tefachim.
Forget about that halacha. We're talking about the halacha of the maximum height of the roof. Just look at that. That's one halacha, right?
So I guess the question is, why would you say that it's regarding the roof and not the wall?
Because the halacha says if the roof is above 20 amos, it's possible. So it doesn't say anything about wall.
Right, I guess you can have a
Well,
wall
I
that goes
imagine
up
you
like
need
this.
something to hold it up, that's true. But the Mishnah doesn't say if a wall is higher than 20 amos. It never says
It
that.
says a sukkah.
It says
It is a
sukkah.
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 So
what's the
sukkah
essence of
always
a
means
sukkah?
schach.
It's
Means
schach.
roof. Whenever it says sukkah, it always means schach. If the roof, if the roof is higher than 20 amos, it's a halacha of what? Roof. Right? So what's the reason? So there's somebody called Rava. That you have to know. And they all bring this down because the halacha is like Rava. What does Rava say? Remember what Rava says?
It's
You
the,
need
it's
a
the
deer
walls which are
sorry, you need a
opposed to be a
temporary
permanent
glove.
structure.
Let's say that
To
again.
be that high, it has to be such a strong, the walls have to be so strong, that it's going to be a
It's
permanent
not
structure.
considered a right.
So now what? So what?
I don't know.
No,
Well,
so
that's the
And
machlokes.
Rava
It's the
says
walls.
that
The walls
we
should be-
require.
I need a complete thought. I want pieces of thinking. Say a complete thought.
But that-
Imagine you're a teacher,
Okay.
and there's a guy in front of you, doesn't know what you're talking about.
But
He needs a
sukkah-
complete explanation.
Because the
Give me a
sukkah-
complete explanation.
Because the sukkah is a temporary dwelling.
One, a sukkah has to be in its nature temporary. One. Two,
Therefore, it shouldn't be greater than a certain size because that suggests a permanence.
what? What is permanence?
to be strong enough to...
One cannot have.
You know, I hear pieces of thinking. You need to give me a complete sentence.
For the sukkah to be that high, the structure has to be permanent
What structure?
of the sukkah.
What
To
structure?
maintain the height of the sukkah.
What structure?
Of the walls.
So say it. Why don't you want to say it? Something against walls?
Still, for the walls
In
to
order for the
there's
roof
a
to
wall
be above
between
20 amas, the walls that support the roof cannot be made of a material that is temporary. It can only be made of a material that is permanent. Yes?
Say
And
again,
the
please.
fundamental concept or principle of a sukkah is it must be temporary. Yes? Therefore,
Oh.
a sukkah above 20 will have permanent walls, correct? Which violates the principle of temporariness. Possible. It's a complete thought. Therefore, where is the principle? What's the category? What's the category then? According to this reasoning, what's the category? Hello? Hi.
Just
Well,
want to thank you.
yeah, you want us to call you back after?
Job on
Oh,
this.
so I appreciate it.
Oh, yeah, sure.
This is from
He's
my
there and
class.
he's enjoying it. Bye.
Those guys are transcribed and
I think.
Yeah.
Again, you hear the complete thought? A. One. A sukkah has to be temporary in nature. Forget about where we learned this out. Whatever, that's the derivation, correct? Therefore, if the roof is higher than 20 amas, then the walls must be permanent, sturdy. And that violates the rule. Therefore, it's possible. Simple. See? That's a full thought.
That's
Now,
his view.
what?
That's his view.
I'm only going rubber.
Okay.
Now the question then is, okay, tell me which category is it? Is it floor? The principle lies in which category? The halacha. The halacha lies in which category? In floor, wall, roof,
The entirety,
or the entirety?
the
The
entirety.
entire...
Well, the whole sukkah is possible, that's true. But this law, where does it lie?
It's not temporary.
Which category?
The roof?
Who?
The roof.
The roof. You all agree with that?
No,
Good.
because the...
Now we're talking about Jews.
Component of wall.
The pursuit
What's
is the...
Which category does it lie?
The roof.
Wall.
Floor, wall, roof, or outer space?
outer space.
Which category?
Oh,
Because the sukkah is not temporary.
The roof
it's
has
a model
has
of the
certain
cosmos,
amount
so it
of-
is.
That should be in entirety, no?
It's who?
Entirety.
Entirety. Anyone
So
else?
wait, the permanence applies to the support of the roof?
Yes.
Ah,
So then it's
okay.
walls.
Yeah, that's his question, it's roof,
It's roof.
100%.
Everybody agree?
No, the roof is the
Walls.
core. The roof is the
Who
core.
says wall?
Me.
Oh, wow, okay.
No, because I was thinking, that's why I asked the question.
Now you're talking.
I answered your question.
Yeah, so therefore it's roof.
Okay. You said wall. Why is it wall?
Because it's the walls that, the permanence of the walls that invalidate the roof.
Yes.
So, exactly.
Yeah.
It's not in roof, it's wall. It happens to be that the repercussions of that is a halach in roof. But really, it's about wall what? Wall material. The material of a wall cannot be permanent. Even if it is permanent, it has to have the possibility of being temporary. You can make a succa out of steel, wall. So that's permanent, sir, because I don't care if the wall is permanent. It has to be possible also to be temporary. And a sukkah that's above, the roof above 20, that wall cannot be made of temporary material. It must be made out of permanent puzzle. In other words, the principle is temporariness possibility in a wall. Therefore, that halach is about wall material, which has its repercussion in roof. Tricky. You see? You know, if Rabbi Yehuda says, of course you can have it over 20 amas. Why? Because according to Rabbi Yehuda, the wall can be permanent. It doesn't have to be temporary. You see? So, according to Rabbi Yehuda, I couldn't care how high the sukkah is. You see? Because the walls have no law that they have to be temporary. So the principle, and that's the category in which this halach is found, is wall material. And roof is the repercussions of that.
Well, the way that the
Because the wall has to be able to be, or the possibility of being temporary, you cannot have a roof more than 20 hours.
way that the
It's a
Bartanor,
consequence.
the
What do
way
you say?
that- the way that the Bartanor explains Rabbi Yehuda, it's apparently that it's required to be permanent.
According to,
Bartanor, the way
According
he
to Rabbi
explains
Rabbi Yehuda.
yeah, but that's,
requires permanent,
Yes.
not could be.
yeah, but the Ritvo holds in Rabbi Yehuda that even Rabbi Yehuda said that it could be
Even-
permanent. He just says that you have permission to make it temporary, you know, but it has to be able to be permanent.
So he's
So therefore I
defining,
can go, yeah,
he's defining permanence by height, as like, height is the definitive criteria of permanence.
no, height
Not-
dictates
Why it's
that the wall must be permanently made.
But if you can take walls like this and lay Succa on it.
Yeah.
You can do that all the time.
Yeah, because if I want that, could I make the walls temporary? Yeah, because the roof allows it. But if that roof goes over 20 amas, you cannot make the walls temporary.
I mean, it doesn't even allow the possibility of
Exactly, that's why, exactly. So the halach is on the wall material, that the wall material has to be such that temporariness possibility, that there is a possibility of it being temporary.
By attaching the principle to the
That's the
different, to the
principle,
different
but then that's a
people,
principle in wall,
it's all clear.
not in roof. Yeah, well,
Okay.
see?
We find it.
But then if you said that the weight
That's the what?
of the weight of the schach is such that it requires the weight, the physical
Yes,
weight of a
yeah,
schach
exactly.
means that you'd have to have a permanency in the walls. It means that there should be a weight requirement on the schach as well, because the walls have to support this weight, and by having such a heavy weight, you have to have heavy walls which would have to be permanent.
But the way that 20,
Actually, it's not the weight.
the way to 20 almost might be the same.
What
as
if you have your exact same schach, yes, and you lower it
Yeah,
to 15 amas, same
sure.
weight?
Yeah, same weight.
Same way, don't
Wait,
No, but
DJ.
I'm saying a different halacha than that. I'm saying if you had a massive structure of a schach that weighed a lot, right?
It's
and
not the
absorbed-
weight.
No, it's a different one, it's a completely different topic. I'm mentioning something completely different.
Yeah,
In
what?
other words, I'm bringing up a completely different topic. We're not
Yeah, what?
talking, it's not connected to this.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm saying to you, if I say to you, I've got this schach to sell you, and it weighs 2 tons, and or whatever it is, right?
Yeah, okay.
And you have to build a structure now that has walls that can support it.
2
It
tons.
should be, right, it should be, by this same halacha, not allowed because you'd have to build a structure that has walls that could support such a structure.
You know, it's normally the requirement of the wall structure or material, right,
Right?
depends on the height.
Correct, correct,
In other words, if the roof is too high
correct.
and the walls are temporary,
Yes.
what will happen to the roof?
Collapse.
It'll collapse.
Correct.
Correct.
Now,
You are
Exactly.
bringing in a new property.
That's
with
right.
weight.
Correct.
Now, why are we only concerned about what?
Height.
Height.
When we can also have a weight property that could also force you to make a sukkah structure that has permanency and not a temporary solution because of the weight.
That's an excellent thought.
Okay.
Yeah. You're saying there's another attribute to roof
Right.
that may also require or necessitate the wall to be permanent.
That's
A
correct.
condition of weight.
Yes, it's not just height, it's also weight of the roof.
That's right.
That's a great idea.
Weight in relation
You
to
know?
height.
I mean, there's no halach about weight, but it's certainly a very good idea. You brought another attribute of roof that will demand wall permanence, which is called weight instead of height. Great.
Put a little paragraph on the side, a little more.
Yeah, great. But
Michael
the
says-
reason why the reason why you're able to say this is because why?
Because you're the principal.
Why? Because you knew the principle. You know exactly. You were able to what's called mafchin, distinctions in the halach itself: case, conduct, principle, wall category, wall component. See, that's the beauty of a havchana. Once you create what's called conceptual distinctions, then you can really see many things going on. You know, most people look at this as one idea, but once you begin to divide the halachas itself into its components, you can now be able to generate interesting ideas, which is what you've done.
It's also much easier to understand the different opinions.
It's really a very good question. Why don't we consider the weight of the roof? Because that also will demand or necessitate the wall material to be permanent. It's a great question. You know?
Is it correct to say that we also see from this din that the din of Arai is, even though it expresses itself in a physical way, it's really a conceptual nature.
What?
The din of Arai.
Oh, well, that's a principle. Temporariness is a principle.
But it's a conceptual principle. It's not really
What's an idea? What do you mean conceptual?
as opposed to
Yeah.
because as we were saying, that since by the fact that you can even have a sukkah less than 20 amma made out of the most permanent materials,
Which is kosher.
which is kosher, so we see that the idea of arai is not that the physicalness has to be arai, it's really a conceptual requirement. Because therefore, under 20 amma,
No.
even where I make it in a permanent structure, it's still considered arai. It's still considered in the category of arai.
No, it's a permanent wall. So why is it kosher?
Uh-huh.
Why is it kosher? That's you made of water, steel. It's permanent.
Because of the fact that it has the ability to be made arai.
So then say that the concept is temporariness possibility, and that iron wall conforms to that concept.
Well, it's
Mhm.
You see?
Mhm.
That's what it is.
Mhm.
You have to understand the principle totally. It's a possibility of temporariness. It doesn't have to be an actuality. You see? You know?
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say is that therefore is it that the criteria of arai is there's some kind of a hasaga based in that.
Well, the
There's an idea of arai that has to
There's a
that
concept
we have to
called-
relate to.
Yeah. What, you
The
moving
structure-
into hashkafa? What are you moving?
No. Well,
What are you moving? I smell hashkafa here.
I'm not trying. You're the one to
I
go off that
smell it
stuff.
in the air.
Yeah,
You know.
it is. I mean, why temporary? Is it the reading of the pasuk?
Like in other words,
want
the
to
idea of
have
having
stuff
to
here?
recognize the.
That's a different thing.
In other words,
What you can ask is why does a sukkah have to be temporary?
Yeah.
Al pi hashkafa.
Okay.
Or
Question.
is it the way that the pasuk is read?
Yeah. We learn the concept of temporariness
Yeah, from that.
from the word, the fact that it says sukkah. A sukkah is in a temporary abode by its very nature. That's what the word means. It means a hut. If it would have been a permit, it would have said bias. It would have said, you know,
Yes, exactly.
that's one of the word, you know, and so on, you know. Okay,
Enough
second
of
law. So we see, we've got the case,
Yes.
conduct of the first halacha, we know its principle, and we know its category. Wow, are we ahead of, you know? Now let's do the second halacha. What's the second halacha? If it's lower than 10 tefachim,
Yeah.
It's possible.
right? Puzzle.
Mhm.
Okay, guys, what's the case?
Cases.
The
sukkah
roof is
made
lower than
less
10 tefachim.
10 tefachim.
What's the conduct? Puzzle.
Mhm.
What's the principle?
It's not-
Why?
it's
What?
not- It's not an abode.
It's not an abode.
Mhm.
So tell
Any
me,
kind of a boat. It's not,
so what's the principle?
Because
Not an abode is a description of what we're looking at. What is the principle?
Livability.
it's a dwelling.
Can't live in it.
Habitability, yes. A sukkah has to be a place in which you can dwell or have, it doesn't have habitability. And therefore it's not a sukkah or a boat. It doesn't, it's not a dwelling if you can't dwell. You cannot fit into a place that's less than 10 feet. You know? Great. What's its category? Where does it fit? Is it wall, floor, roof, or sukkah? Not what's possible.
Sukkah.
Sukkah.
No, what is the component of?
Oh,
Forget about
the
the
roof.
psul refers to what? Remember, the word puzzle can refer to the wall is puzzle, the floor is puzzle, the roof is puzzle, or the sukkah is puzzle. So that's concept of outcome. What does it refer to?
It's still a wall.
Well, which is it? The roof is less than 10 tefachim.
No, it's the
Which is category?
No, but that's
Position.
What position is that?
Position of the, oh no,
No.
that's not position.
No.
Again,
It's what?
Would be wall.
Who?
It would be wall, same as the.
Why? The principle is habitability. Has nothing to do with
of the whole
habitability.
thing, of the sukkah.
Well, that's what we
itself.
said. The principle is
The entirety.
habitability. Dwellability, whatever that, right?
It's the entirety, because that's what. the
No,
sukkah-
that's what's possible is the entire sukkah,
Yeah,
right?
right.
But the law refers to which category? The outcome is possible on the sukkah. Don't confuse the outcome, with the law.
Still talking
But that's
about
the wall, it's the
the
dimension
roof.
of
The
the
height,
Still
again, the
talking
height
You
of
can
the
have
roof.
a kosher schach, but lay it too
What
low.
makes it uninhabitable? A wall?
The size, the
height.
relationship between the
What is this that you're referring
The
to?
the
height.
schach, the roof.
What?
roof.
The roof. There you are. What makes it uninhabitable isn't the wall. It's not the floor. It's the
The
roof.
roof is too low.
The roof height
Yeah.
makes it uninhabitable. Therefore,
It's a roof.
the psul, the roof is, it's really the sukkah that's puzzle, because the sukkah has to be habitable, but the component problem is the roof. It's interesting. It's the whole different, first halach we had wall, and now we have roof. You see?
Unbelievable.
Isn't that related to the height of the occupants? What if you have people that are 4 feet high?
Doesn't make a difference. You go by the normal person. I mean, if you go to a country, they're all midgets. You're right. I mean, yeah, you don't think about this.
There is a place like that.
What's it called, Midgetville?
I don't know what they call it. There's Mamish, there's
Oz.
Mamish a place.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Where?
Yeah, I
What'd
think
you
they
say?
do call it
Oz.
that.
Oz?
Yeah.
There's a
What's
person
Oz?
that made,
Munchkins.
there's a person that made a city. There's a person that made Mamish a city.
Oh, would he be?
Dafka
Frank,
for
what's his name? Which guy
Galman.
wrote The Wizard of Oz? Frank? Come on, you guys. Frank who?
Baum.
Well, he'd be
Yeah,
proud.
Frank
He'd be
Baum.
proud of you.
Yeah. Oh, he's-
Yeah, bringing his book into our lochas.
Someone really did this though.
How about a horse of a different color?
There's someone
That's a
that
horse
made
of a different color.
But I'll tell you, that's, a sukkah in the land of dwarfs or midgets, right? I don't even think then, because habitability goes by, first of all, they all have to be Jewish,
Uh,
Yeah.
But the thing is, it goes by the average height of a man.
uh,
It doesn't, a guy can't walk over to a Rav and say, I'm only 4 feet 2. Why isn't this sukkah good? I can live in this sukkah. What do you think he's going to paskin?
He's going to say that go by the locha.
It's possible.
Yeah.
Why? Because this is not called a habitable sukkah according to the average height of man.
Keep his
Well, it's not like he couldn't, you're right, it's not like he couldn't live in a...
This to me is a mansion.
But what if they never met an average height man?
Who?
It's a lost tribe. What if they never met an average height man?
Who?
I think the Aztecs were very short.
Pygmies.
Their buildings were very
Mexicans
small.
are short.
Yeah.
Oh,
There
the
were people
Aztecs,
who were camping to use a pup
What?
tent or something.
yeah,
Who?
they were small status.
Like a pup tent, people could slide in with a sleeping bag, but you can't live in it, you can maybe sleep in it.
Exactly. Yeah. No, nobody's saying you can't do anything with
You could
it.
sleep in it, but you can't
But
live in it.
it's not habitable.
It's not habitable according to the.
Yeah, it's not a human dwelling.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but so pashtus you'd have to do the. Okay, what's the next thing? Anything that has less than 3 walls, it's possible. Okay, guys. Case. 2 walls. Conduct. Puzzle. Yes? Why? What's the principle? No, it could. Maybe. Well, it depends. If you have 2 walls parallel to each other,
Right?
right, and
Or
you
you
have
put
2
them in a-
beams,
Is it
you
a
can hold
dwelling?
up schach,
Sure.
you know?
The question, is it a dwelling if it's less than?
What do you say?
Doesn't constitute a living habitation, place to live?
Well, what do you
It's
think?
not shelter.
Now what?
Shelter.
What's the purpose of a dwelling?
Give you some privacy.
To offer shoes.
Is it privacy?
Keep the neighbors out.
Protection.
Who?
Protection,
No,
privacy.
it's a shelter.
Which
It has
is
to be a shelter.
What's the concept really of a house?
So hold your
Protect.
stuff.
What?
Hold your stuff.
Hold your stuff.
To be
Spoken like a true rat pack.
Keep your piano dry.
Spoken like a true hoarder.
to be a private dwelling.
Yeah, okay, but what's the purpose of a dwelling?
So that privacy.
Protection from the
is-
storm.
privacy
those guys
could be
out.
separated.
Privacy is one.
Protection from the
Who?
storm and from other forces.
Protection against the elements.
Right.
And
Wind,
animals.
rain.
Animals.
When you say animals, what are you really saying?
Danger.
Why? What?
Danger.
Security.
Thank you.
The essential idea of living in a house is to feel secure. You live in the outside world, you're subject to a lot of dangerous stuff. You know? In other words, you don't want any unwanted entries.
But that's a subset of shelter. Of the
Yes,
definition.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a subset.
So therefore, if you have 2 walls, it would seem that what?
But you can protect one opening, but it's hard to
It'll hold the
protect two.
skacha,
Well,
but
yeah,
it's not
exactly.
giving you shelter.
What?
It'll hold the skacha, maybe.
Maybe, yeah, it'll hold
But,
shelter.
but it's not giving you
There's no
shelter.
shelter, there's no protection against
Security.
unwanted entry. That's really what you want, security. I mean, you also want privacy.
Right, right.
Okay, it's nice.
Which begs the question is why does it only have to be 10 tefachim, the 3rd wall?
No, one time.
I mean, 1 tefach.
What you're asking is really a very good question. If in essence the reason why 2 walls is no good and 3 walls is okay, right? Because the 4th wall you'd figure would be an entry for it, an entrance. That's why we don't really care about the 4th wall, because we have to have an entrance. And you can have an entrance wide, no problem, But 3 walls is not an entrance. And in that sense, you need 1 entrance and that's it. So then the question is, why would the Torah allow that 3rd wall to be a tefach? That's a very good question. Yeah. And so,
It doesn't seem to fit with the principle of security.
exactly. That's, yeah.
Stability, it fits more with the principle of stability.
Right.
Stability means what?
Of the other 2 walls.
You have an angle.
No, you can have 2 walls opposite each other
Yes, but you
and
still.
2 beams and schach on top of that. It's pretty stable.
No.
No?
Could be.
2 walls can't be
Depends.
arrow
As
square,
long,
right?
as long as the schach has a frame.
So you need that tefach as an angle to hold it up.
So then maybe what you're saying is that there's a second component or function of a wall. It has to be stable. It's one of the attributes of
Well,
wall.
maybe it's,
So that tefach will add stability
maybe
to
in
the
order to have
second
shelter,
wall.
you need
These
support,
walls need to be
Okay.
at a right
Maybe.
angle.
structural
What?
These 2
support.
walls need to be at a right angle. They need to be attached.
No, you can have 2 walls and a tefach on one.
Yeah, but it can't be just, it
Yeah,
can't be
that's
just
right.
that, because what if you put your 1 tefach wall on the top? That'll hold the 2 walls.
No, you can't have a wall on
But you
top.
can.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
And it's
yeah,
on a
yeah,
wall.
Yeah,
I
it's
guess
not a
that's
wall,
a
it's
wall.
a beam.
See, what you really raise is a very good question. If the principle of why 2 walls is no good, fundamentally is habitability, Because you can't live in a place that anybody can walk into. You know what I'm saying? There's no security here, and so on. Then the question is, why would the halacha l'mash Mishna, and that's really what it is, why would that permit a third wall to be only a tefach?
Does that mean
Shouldn't
the
be that
principle
way.
is not correct?
What?
Does that mean that
Maybe,
principle
maybe
is
the
off?
maybe the principle is not habitability. Maybe. Yeah, that is a problem.
Oh, well, maybe it goes back to the dwelling. It has to be a dwelling. And if you
No,
can't
that's what it
support
means.
it,
Habitable means a dwelling.
no, that's something else. Habitable, I think, is
Yes.
what you can do with the dwelling.
Well, you want to dwell. To dwell means to be
Yeah, but you
habitable.
can't dwell if it's going to fall on you.
Well, that's the question. Are we talking about stability?
Yeah.
You know, and so on. That's the question.
Is it
But
stability or is
that-
it security?
What?
Is it stability or security?
Or something.
Ah, maybe it's
Something
the
else.
same
It's
thing.
privacy.
Maybe it's
Or
a
protection against the elements, like, well, what, that you raise a problematic issue. Yes, I don't have an answer for that. Really. I like to think, because the truth is a dwelling, an abode, right, has to have an enclosure. There has to be an enclosure, right? The concept of enclosure is the concept of security. The problem is if you have a tefach, it's not
Well,
an
you just said
enclosure,
it.
there's
Rabbi,
no
you
security,
just said
so
it.
why is it kosher?
enclosure. If two doesn't enclose,
No.
maybe in the if
No, but you raise a good, what you raise is a valid objection. Yeah. I'd rather leave it that way, that's all.
okay.
So we don't really know what the principle is. We could just say it's exercise. You know, we can rely on that, That's what God wants, finished. We don't know why. That should be adequate,
Maybe it's definitional perhaps, that it has to do with the definition of what we call a sukkah.
Go ahead, keep going.
No, so therefore 2 walls would not be called a sukkah, whereas
Three
two and a half walls,
Anything that's a third
that
wall.
has a
plus.
third, 2 plus is called a sukkah.
No, but the question is why? What's its principle? That's the problem here.
Could it be the relation to light?
Oh.
No, that's the
No.
What's the definition of a wall in terms of minimum height? Is there some
10 tefachim.
10 tefachim, and this is 1 tefachim?
No, there's
I'm
one,
sorry.
no, 1 tefach in its
That's the
width, not the length. It has to be at least 10 tefachim high,
High.
because we said the roof cannot be lower than 10.
No, I'm talking about the third wall.
Third wall, you can have 1, 2, and a tefach. That's a sukkah, kosher sukkah. There's a tefach right on the third wall. That's it. The width of that wall is 10 tefachim.
Oh, just coming out a little bit.
That's it. That's it. Yeah. That's it.
Another,
Yeah.
another question, do these
Yeah,
three,
it's kosher.
do these 2 plus walls need to be contiguous? Do they need to be connected? That's another question that arises.
Well, if you're going to have, no, they don't. They
No,
don't.
I'm saying, but that's.
And that's why there are different types of arrangements that you can have. You know.
So,
But anyway, the principle is not clear, and so on. What category is it? This halacha belongs in what category? Remember, category is the critical feature that organizes all the halachas. Remember, categories, the Mishnah presents the halacha, the category organizes the halacha, and the principle generates the halacha. Got that? Those are the 3 important ideas.
Say that again?
The Mishnah presents the law, the category organizes the law, and the principle generates or causes the law. That's what it is.
So
Anyway, so which category is this third law?
the structure of wall.
Wall what? Wall
Definition.
number.
Wall number.
Wall number. How many walls? That's it.
what's the minimum wall, essentially?
Well, wall number. How many walls?
Oh, how many walls of the sukkah?
How many walls does a sukkah have to have? Great.
So we know that a tefach is a wall now. Before that, we didn't know.
A tefach is acceptable as a
Acceptable.
wall by the sukkah. Yes. It's not a wall. I mean,
It's not.
don't call me a tefach a wall. For some reason, the Torah allows a semblance of a wall.
Semblance, yeah.
Nobody's going to call a tefach a wall,
Is-
especially when you consider the fact that the minimum interior space of a sukkah
Seven.
has to be 7 tefachim by 7 tefachim. You know, So that tefach is not a
It
wall.
really reduces the.
Yeah, but is there
It's
anyone?
really, it's almost like, you know, a wannabe wall.
Yeah,
But there's some principle
It
where
wants
the
to grow it.
schach
It has
growth,
illusions of being a
aspiration.
wall. It has aspirations of
It's
being
a
a wall.
halachic wall.
There's a principle where
Yeah.
But is there anyone?
By the way, a halachic wall means a legal fiction.
Yes.
It's a legal reality, not a real reality.
Say
There are
again?
many, a legal reality.
What?
A halachic.
A wall as a tefach is a legal reality.
Uh-huh.
It's considered to be a wall.
Uh-huh.
But in no way is that real. It's not called an ontological reality. It's a real being wall.
So when the guy
It is
shoots the
already
guy,
getting
he says,
into
well,
maybe
he was
a-
behind a wall, it doesn't work.
No.
Right.
Yeah.
It's already maybe getting into a detail, but is there anyone that says that that's kosher even where the tefach is mamish connected to the other wall? I think, doesn't everyone say that it has to be at least,
No, it
has to
doesn't
be,
have to be right angle. It could be
no,
parallel.
no, but it should, but dafka, it should not be,
I mean, where does the tefach have to be?
right, yeah.
Okay, then
That
the
has to be-
halacha, where does that have to be? Does it have to be adjoining? Can it be smack in the
Right.
middle?
Right.
Those are the
Well, we
details.
call
Because, no, because apparently it seems that it has to form, it has to.
I think it has to be
suffice to be
adjoining
a
the wall.
mechitza.
You can't just have in
No,
the
no,
middle,
otherwise we would
this
call
thing
it a pillar. We
hanging.
would
First of all,
call it-
you can't just have a thing hanging in the
It's a
middle,
pillar.
two walls and this tefach in the middle. I think it has to be adjoining, you know?
Good, that's a good question. I was
Yeah.
thinking,
Right.
that's like, you have this
I think it
deal
has to
with
make
one
up-
in the middle, does
I
that
think it
work?
has to make up 7 tefachim, it has to be within, it has to
What has
have
to
a
be?
space
Now, the
Ah,
interior space,
within-
7 foot.
from contiguous
with
walls.
that tefach, it has to make a wall of 7 tefachim.
Well, the two walls have to be 7 foot.
No, and this
Yeah, but if it's
also,
not connected,
this tefach,
then you can't do the square.
that's why it
You
has
can't
to
do the
be
square.
within 3 tefachim to the other wall, that should be loved, and therefore it's considered like it's closed.
No, well,
But
no, Lovid is midrabanan. Theoretically, you can have two walls at right angles, and the tefach will be
mamish attached to the other?
Yeah, according to the Torah.
Uh,
The Chachamim came along and said, "Oh no,
uh-huh.
you know, they changed it. It's got to look like a wall. So
Uh-huh.
therefore you have to have Lovid, Succa, Pesach, and they did a whole business to this. You know,
Uh-huh.
according to the Torah, you do not need any of this.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
Okay, so the category is wall number.
Mhm.
Okay, the last halacha is that the sun shines more than the shade.
Uh-huh.
It's possible.
Puzzle.
Mhm.
What's puzzle?
It's
The
chach.
whole sukkah.
The sukkah's puzzle?
Sukkah's
The roof puzzle?
Can't use it.
What's puzzle?
No,
The floor.
The floor?
It's the sunlight that comes in. from
Construction.
Succa and-
That's how you measure it.
It's the sukkah is puzzle.
Is it sukkah puzzle?
Well, you don't have a schach. I mean, there's more,
So make up your mind. What's puzzle?
Succa.
The sukkah.
it's not called schach if it,
Why isn't it called schach?
because it lets in too much light.
And therefore, what's the problem?
It's more permanent.
It's not,
than
it's not
temporary.
functional.
It's not functional.
Yeah,
The key word is functionality. A roof has to function
it's
like
not
a roof.
functioning to allow the sukkah to be a sukkah.
It's not functioning as a roof. The major function of a roof is to provide a majority shade.
Shelter, shelter.
Or shade.
Yeah.
And therefore, what seems to be, so therefore the case is what? Too much sun,
Mhm.
conduct is puzzle,
Mhm.
right? But what is puzzle really? The roof is puzzle. Because the roof doesn't function as a roof.
It's not
Therefore the sukkah would puzzle. Obviously it has no roof, the sukkah would puzzle. But really what's puzzle is the roof. There's not a roof. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What's the principle? What's the problem here? Why?
You don't have shelter because
So what are you saying?
from the elements from
That's a description. I want to know what the principle is. For describing the halacha. I want to know what is the principle. And what is the principle? Who?
It's lacking its functionality.
That's the category.
A sukkah
Roof
must provide,
functionality is a
a
category.
sukkah must provide some basic protection.
And if it doesn't, now what?
Dwelling.
No, sukkah.
More
What's
sun,
the
than,
word?
more sun than shade makes it uninhabitable.
There
habitability.
you it's habitable.
Yay.
Nobody's going to live in a place, that has no shade.
Right.
And forget it. It's not habitable. Again, we account to the principle called habitability.
Yep.
You see, it's got to be a dwelling place. You know, if there's more sunlight, nobody's going to live there, and that's not habitable.
Wait, so why, but,
Sure.
but it doesn't.
Combining the last two pieces, we have, obviously with the schach, if it's too much sun coming, that's a problem. But what if you have the schach is okay, but then you only have 2 plus walls, and you have sun coming in through the walls?
Coming in what?
There's
Oh,
another,
the
Between the
sun
walls,
coming
you're
through
saying.
the walls.
is it habitable if the sun's coming, if you only have 2 plus the short
The
wall?
acre is the schach.
No, but then,
It's got, is it only?
During the
is
day you
sun-
have shade, you have
habitability
enough
through the
shade.
schach
So what are you
sun?
saying? If it's more than 20 amos, then it's the
No.
walls that provide the shade,
I'm saying, if
What is
we
that,
have
what they
the bare minimum wall protection,
which is 2.
but sun comes on different angles, different times of the day, you could have a lot of sun coming in, that makes it uninhabitable for parts of the day.
from the side,
From the
instead
sides,
of
from
the
the
top.
walls.
Question,
That's a great question.
isn't it?
And there's a Mishna halacha that deals with that question. What happens, right?
Uh-huh.
What happens if you have a schach, right, that will give you a majority shade at only one point in the day, but not the other times? What point will it provide the shade? When the sun is at the zenith.
Right.
Yes? When the sun is right over the Succa. It's called, right?
That's-
Midday.
Mhm.
The question is, does it provide, and that's the hottest part.
Right.
That's what it has to provide. So it's amazing that if the schach doesn't provide the shade at the beginning afternoon and end afternoon, we don't care. As long as the schach provides a shade at the hottest point of the day, which is zenith, midday, or meridian, it's kosher. There's a specific halacha about that, which is an amazing halacha. You see?
Yeah.
Yeah. That means you can actually have a sukkah that doesn't provide a majority shade. But if midday it does, that's called habitable, and you're okay. That's later on.
But why,
Great question.
why it doesn't
So
seem-
that's what? That's a condition, or that's a limit, that's a condition of schach that has to provide shade
Uh-huh.
at the main part of the day. So we add a condition because of this question. Look what we did. We went through it 4 halachas. We understand it clearly. Why? Because we look at the different parts of every halacha. You see. Now, we want to look at the Mishnah as a totality. What is the central idea of the first Mishnah?
structure,
Who?
structure of the sukkah.
Because the first part dealt with war material. Second part dealt with maximum height, minimum war material. Second part dealt with the minimum height, number of walls, and then we have amount of shade. So it seems to be dealing with a lot of stuff. How would you organize? Remember, every Mishnah has a central idea. In other words, all the halachas in a given Mishnah really rotate around one idea, and that organizes the Mishnah. It's called the central idea of the Mishnah. Every Mishnah has that.
The
That's the
dimensions
main
of
way to learn
habit-
Mishnah.
habit-
It's to a central idea. What?
Dimensions of habitability.
You're looking at the principle. How about various conditions in a sukkah components? Because we've dealt with roof, wall, you know, those two components.
Central idea, right? Yeah.
And the idea is where we have certain specific conditions. So, and these are 2 components. So there's various conditions. What?
Various is vague. It's like a chart. Word various is it's like a chart.
What's wrong with John?
It's not central.
I like John.
Children should be the central idea.
Are you Jewish? But, so drop the word various. That's all. Say assorted. Instead of various, you know. It's just conditions in